Beach Life Unlocked, episode 13. Mitchell David, Mike Dotson.
That's me.
Today, are agents using your property to get more leads? That's the question. What am I talking about, Michael?
Open houses.
Yeah, open houses is today's topic. It's an interesting one for Mike and I. It's a love-hate relationship for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're being honest.
No, I love to hate them.
They're not the best for an agent, and except for it does benefit an agent. But for us, I can't stand in one place for hours on end.
Right. So let's give you all some numbers first, really quick. So only 4% of properties sell
directly
from a open house. So first of all, that means there's 96% failure. Okay. All right.
I don't know if it's a failure, but
this is only 1% of all buyers actually even go to an open house.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy.
So many look-at-loos out there.
Right.
I guess they're not buyers.
Or that's why I hate the open house.
Yeah.
All right. But this is a stat that I like to talk about. 96% of all buyers start their search online.
Yep.
Okay. So number-wise, open houses just aren't going to sell your house in most cases.
Yep.
Plain and simple. So why are agents doing it, right? That is the question that we're going to talk about. Why do agents use people's houses?
Self-serving.
It is self-serving.
More buyers you can get through, more buyers you can put in your sphere of influence or into the funnel, as we say.
Lead generation.
Lead generation.
Yep. Michael's on to that, and I think, again,
I don't want to go too far. We're working our way through this.
Yeah, but we're going to work our way through. But I mean, that easy answer is simply this: it's lead generation, it's brand awareness, right? We get to put our signs out, we get our names are on there, our logos are on there. So we get to meet people face to face to actually have conversation with. I mean, so 3 quick reasons are simply we get to build relationships. Mm-hmm. We get lead generation, which we all want, right? And then we get brand recognition.
Yep.
Recognition.
Check.
And that's all for who?
For the agent.
For the agent. Not yet have we talked about how it benefits you, Mr. Seller, or Mrs. Seller, for your property. And I think this is where we're going to go back and forth on some of the things, because to be honest with you, now I told Mike, I love to hate open houses, but I think there's some merit to them.
No, there definitely are some benefits, not just for agents, but for sellers alike. Number one, you get direct feedback, right? The people are standing in the unit telling you their thoughts, right? Why they're not going to put an offer in. Is the price too high? Is the decor not what they're looking for? Right? The layout, does it not flow right? Whatever it might be, you get that directly from the source, right? Rather than waiting on an agent to give you some, just wasn't right for them.
Correct.
Okay, well, why is it not right?
Well, and to be honest,
and
not to kind of go down the side lane, but as an agent, I don't really like to provide a whole bunch of feedback to a listing agent because I'm working for the buyer.
Right.
And if my buyer is super excited and I'm checking, they loved the house, it was a 5 out of 5.
Price just right.
Price just right. Well, I've just now given up.
Where's the offer?
Yeah, where's the offer? Plus, I'm the fiduciary, and I've just given up my client's motivation on that property.
Right.
That's not a good idea.
If that buyer does put an offer in, right, the listing agent already knows this person is excited about the property. They're going to try to squeeze it for all it's worth.
Squeeze it for all it's worth. So I'm with Mike. I think open houses, obviously for an agent, there are some great lead generation for sure. I mean, when I first started, I sat at an open house in a new construction for a year. I did, and that's how I built my database and my pipeline. Out of all of them, I only sold one.
Right.
And it wasn't even to the building that sold it.
Oh, okay.
It was outside the building. But over the years, I've been able to have communication with them, and that's led to other relationships, other purchases, and stuff like that.
Referrals.
But I agree with Mike 100%. You have to figure out you have to tell your seller what the expectation is, right? Why are we doing the open house?
I have a listing right now. My sellers actually reached out and said, what about an open house? And I said, I'll do an open house, absolutely, but don't expect to get an offer from it, right? I mean, and she said to me, well, what do you mean by that? Is it just for you to get? I'm going to get leads, right? I'm going to get more buyers, and that are probably not going to buy your unit, but may buy something elsewhere. And now I've got myself another sale by having helped you, right? Potentially.
Right, potentially, because look, there is 4% of properties that do sell. I mean, I just talked to a really good agent, a really good friend, and he has been doing open houses his whole career, and he just had one where he had an open house.
He was just thinking about stopping.
He didn't want to do them anymore.
Getting us anywhere. Waste of time.
But somebody came in and they bought the house at the open house.
Just when he expected the least.
So again, seller expectations, and here's what it would be. It'd be, hello, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Let's do an open house, and here's when we're going to do it and why we're going to do it. And for me, it is, hey, if your house is priced properly in a great location, is clean and ready to go, most likely you're not going to need to do an open house in this market, because still properties are going the first weekends, correct? Yeah. But I think, and where I've changed my mind is, I think I would like to do an open house on a property that's a bit stale, 3-4 weeks into it, where we think we priced it perfectly, the seller thinks that was priced perfectly, we've done all the great marketing, beautiful pictures, 3D tours, videos, social media, mailers, we've done everything, but we're just not getting any activity. I think you go to the seller and say, listen, let's get boots on the ground. Let's get some direct feedback from these people.
Yeah, I've got one now. We actually received an offer, two offers the first weekend. The buyer ended up backing out of the contract. Haven't had a showing since.
Crazy.
Put it back on the market, right? We had so much excitement from the jump. Put it back on the market, same price, same condition, everything. Nothing changed. No showings.
Yeah. So again, that's the expectation, and I think if you move towards it in looking for feedback, for information, I'm about to do a broker's open midway through a listing, because again, look, Mike and I say it all the time, we'll tell you our successes, but we'll also tell you our failures, and the one thing that we know is what we don't know, and so it's also good to look at other professionals who are in the business, and a broker open does help with that.
Bring the agents in, bring the brokers in, have them give you feedback directly. If you have clients, what are they looking for? Would this fit? If it does fit, but needs some changing, what needs to change?
Correct.
Right. So I think that's actually, to me, more beneficial than a public open house.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, because you're correct. I don't know. So I would have 1,000% agreed with you yesterday, right? And I think after I slept on it again and put all this together, and we were having this conversation, I just think there is some. Again, I'm not a big fan of an open house on the first weekend. I know it's supposed to get excitement and do all that stuff, but I think just in general, if you do it coming soon and you do your social media stuff properly, and you do have all that stuff leading up to a listing, I think you already have built that excitement, right? And so I think the open house is a bit extra in the sense of, I don't think that a buyer is going to just randomly show up.
Well, I think with a brand new listing, if the seller's looking to sell quick, I think it's beneficial, because then you get direct feedback quickly, and you can adjust, rather than having a property, like you were saying, sit on the market, go stale, right? Maybe you haven't had a price adjustment, maybe you haven't done anything in the unit since it was listed as far as condition, you haven't gotten great feedback from agents or buyers up to that point. Getting that early on in the process, I think, would be beneficial. So, but again, I mean, open houses, neither one of us are fans of them. When sellers, because sellers do expect, them to sell based on the open house. Right? We got 25 people through it. Why didn't we sell it? Well, the feedback was X, Y, and Z, and so we're going to have to make some changes.
Where this pivot. So that's again, I think expectations. I think, to your point, I think going into the open house on the first weekend, it was looking, not for the offer, but for the immediate feedback in that situation, and also, to think about this, an open house does work out well on the first weekend, especially if you are a seller who might have a dog or kids, it allows an open, big, large window for people to come in and go out of your property in a plan, in mass.
In a planned manner.
All right. Okay. So again, but it's important.
I'm pretty sure after all this, we're going to be doing open houses still. At least I am.
Yeah. No.
I think they are beneficial, but
yeah. Well, you just bought open house signs.
When do the timing? When is the right time to do an open house? Right. I don't think there's a clear answer for that.
Well, I think again it goes to your point. I think if you have a seller who is looking for a quick sell and you're looking for quick feedback, I think your first weekend. To your point.
Yeah.
I think if able to do that, but I think definitely if you're midway and you're kind of stale, I think getting that additional information is super important as well.
So you're saying both times.
I think to do an open house every weekend would not be what I would do. I think then it becomes even more stale that, hey, I've done it every weekend and it still hasn't sold, because the next question you're going to get from agents and from buyers is, well, why hasn't it sold?
What's wrong with the property?
Which an open house could lend itself in your favor if, for example, you were under contract, kind of like you were, and so days on market kind of get a bit fudged a little bit, because really you were under contract for 3 weeks of that time frame, and then that could be explained one-on-one. So there's another bonus to it.
I saw this listing 2 months ago, but the days on market has only been 10.
Here's why. So that face-to-face interaction. So look, are agents using your properties for their benefit 1,000% for lead generation?
Yep.
Obviously open houses have come back more since COVID because nobody wanted themselves in the houses, so there's been a resurgence of that. So let's be honest, we do use your properties to get more clients, hands down. But as long as the agent and the seller are sitting together and understanding what the expectation is, I think open houses can be super successful and can also help with a quicker sale.
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah, but absolutely. I mean, there's so many. There are benefits to it, like we've talked about. Right, you get some feedback early on. You make those adjustments. You're probably gonna, very well gonna sell.
Right.
Most likely. So it may not be a buyer from that open house, but if you make those adjustments based on the feedback you've received at the open house,
that's correct.
You may bring another buyer in. Yeah.
Right. So again, super important when you meet with your agent, when you're interviewing your agent, when you're having conversations with your agent, our goal is, Mike and my goal is to make sure that you're informed, that you understand what you're getting yourself into. So make sure you have these conversations on what the expectation is from everybody. So if you have questions, please feel free. Email us, text us, call us. We're happy to have the conversation with you, walk you through it. We have a great seller guide we're happy to send to you as well. Or you can simply visit our website.
BeachLifeOceanCity.com.
Thank you very much.